Hey friends! Someone recently sent me a thread that's been making the rounds on the internet. It's from Reddit's Am I the Asshole forum, and it's, well, see for yourselves. I am getting married next month. My sister is hardcore into BDSM, particularly DDLG and pet play. My sister's new boyfriend, let's call him John, is a dom, and he and my sister do full-time dom sub. This includes stuff like her always having to sit at his feet when he's sitting, having to wear whatever he wants, not talking to other men, and she always calls him sir. The issues began when I announced my bridesmaids. Of course, she was supposed to be my maid of honor, but she backed out because John does not let her wear red. The bride's color for the wedding was red, and that includes the bridesmaids' dresses. Then, when looking at the seating plan for the church, she asked if I could place her at the back so nobody would be distracted by her sitting on the floor at his feet. I'm honestly so mad. I'm mad that she assumes she can sit on the floor at my wedding reception. I'm mad she won't be my bridesmaid because John has banned a color. Am I the asshole? So, this seems like a pretty good opportunity to share some of my thoughts on fetish and publicness. Whenever some kind of controversial situation appears in the fetish community, I think a good place to start the conversation is with the question, is this a consent violation? After all, consent is the foundation of any ethical expression of sexuality. So, is this a consent violation? I can see how some people might say that it is, since other people at the wedding haven't consented to playing witness to this couple's clearly exhibitionistic expression of kink. But consent violation is a really serious concept, and I'm reluctant to broaden it to include too many things. Look at it this way. What if a lesbian couple were to walk down the street in a homophobic community and someone in that town were to say, whoa, I don't want to see that. I haven't consented to looking at that. I just don't think that being exposed to identities, lifestyles, or opinions that make you uncomfortable can ever be a consent violation. But just because something doesn't qualify as a consent violation doesn't necessarily mean that it's cool. Which brings us to my second question. Is it douchey? Look, I don't think kinksters and fetishists should be ashamed to talk about their sexualities in public. I mean, obviously. If I'm at a party and someone asks me what my trash pamphlet is about, I'm going to tell them. It's about 200 pages long. No, seriously, I do tell them that it is about how Shakespeare helped me come to terms with my innate, unchosen, and lifelong sexual fetish. And if they ask me follow-up questions from there, well, that's really their mistake, isn't it? But although I don't think fetishists should be ashamed, I do have mixed feelings about the douchiness or non-douchiness of this particular Reddit situation. On the one hand, I side with the kinky couple with regards to the word sir. If sir is what this woman calls her boyfriend, I do think it would be unreasonable for the bride to ask her to call him by any other term at the wedding. Yes, calling your boyfriend sir in public does imply something about the sexuality of your relationship, but so does calling your boyfriend instead of your roommate. At the end of the day, it's just a word. I don't think calling her boyfriend by the term he wants to be called is douchey. But I am going to call asshole on this issue of the red dress. Yeah, you could make the argument that it would be easy enough for the bride to just pick a different color for her bridesmaids' dresses, but I mean, look, we all know brides are monsters and people at their mercy really just need to flex some DS and submit to the bride on her special day.
I just need you to tell me that it's gonna be beautiful!
So let's assume the bridesmaids absolutely have to wear red. I think John is being an asshole to prohibit it. My guess here is that John is really young and inexperienced, and there is no one more insufferable than a baby dom. They feel the need to prove themselves by stomping all over everything in their quest to be America's next top dom hole.
Wanna be on top?
But seriously, congrats to John for being a bigger diva than the bride. That's hard to do. Honestly, I think this story is a bit sad. This relationship is clearly immature and not going to last. And, 10 years from now, I think this girl is going to regret sitting on the floor in the background of her sister's wedding photos. There's just, it just seems like there's a level of maturity missing here. I also call asshole on this issue of not being allowed to talk to other men. I mean, frankly, I call bullshit. I just don't buy it. I don't think that's real. I think that's performative crap. Am I really supposed to believe that this woman doesn't talk to her father? Are there no male employees at her workplace? No male cashiers at the grocery store? Not talking to 50% of humanity is not a realistic or achievable goal, and I just call bullshit on it. I think this is a show the couple is putting on to call attention to themselves and, frankly, inconvenience the bride. So, yeah, that's an asshole move. The bottom line is, I don't think this is a consent violation, but I do think that John sounds like a wad. So, no, I don't think the bride is the asshole here. But I think this is a really interesting conversation, and reading this Reddit thread and thinking about it has given me a lot to consider. It raises all kinds of questions about sexuality and sexual expressiveness. I think we all would feel uncomfortable with the idea of a couple having sex in the middle of a wedding reception, or, for instance, a top throwing his submissive over his knee for a spanking in the middle of a wedding reception. But why am I so uncomfortable with that? Where is the line between holding hands, which we all think is fine, and actually engaging in a sex act? There's a line somewhere, but I haven't quite figured out where I think that line is. And even if I were to determine a line, I'm not sure I could logically justify it. So what do you guys think? How do you determine what degree of publicness is appropriate in your own dynamics? Let me know in the comment sections. Like I said, I think this is a really interesting conversation, and I'd love to chat about it with you guys.